Raging wildfires, and a young woman arrives on the scene and realizes her beloved home is gone. Then, Angelina Jolie talks for the first time about her baby's health crisis.
I was terrified, but prepared.
Plus,
do you know where my daughter is?
I'm sorry, but I don't think that she's here.
Why these flight attendants are furious over the new Jodie Foster movie Flight Plan.
I was very aggravated, disappointed.
Wait till you see how far some students are going to save gas, riding horses to school. These girls have to get up at 2:30 in the morning to get there on time.
Everybody's looking at me like, are you joking? Are you serious?
Imagine an island where sex offenders are forced to live together in exile.
The only way to get there is by ferry.
Journey to the island.
This is my home.
Plus, he plays Chris Rock as a kid, behind the scenes with a little star with very big shoes to fill. Inside Edition with Deborah Norville.
Hi, everybody, and thank you for joining us. It was headline news earlier this year when Oscar winner Angelina Jolie's new baby was hospitalized shortly after she was adopted. But only now is the actress talking about what she was really afraid of during that time. In an interview, Jolie said she was fearful that her new daughter might be HIV positive. Here's Diane McInerney.
Angelina Jolie is speaking out for the first time about her baby's health scare.
There was a fear that she had HIV.
Angelina adopted little Zahara in Ethiopia in July. All she knew was that the infant's mother had died of AIDS. And in an interview with CNN's Wolf Blitzer, the actress says that right after the adoption, Zahara had health problems.
She had to go to the hospital for dehydration and malnutrition, and when she got there, there was lots of other things that they were concerned about that were showing up. But turned out to be different things. They thought there was a mass in her arm, and it turned out to be a rickets fracture from being malnourished.
Doctors, including Dr. Jane Aronson at New York Presbyterian Hospital, ran tests on Zahara, while Angelina nervously waited for news. Then came relief when doctors confirmed that Zahara, who's now 9 months old, was healthy.
Does Zahara have AIDS?
No, she doesn't.
As the United Nations Goodwill Ambassador, Angelina has become very involved in fighting AIDS around the world. She spoke with Blitzer during a trip to Washington for a conference about the disease. But the AIDS crisis had never hit closer to home than when little Zahara was ill.
We should not be scared to adopt children that possibly could have AIDS. It's okay, but she does not.
Jolie was in Washington as part of an effort to try to get corporate America involved in the fight against AIDS. Firefighters in Southern California are still trying to get the upper hand on those wildfires that are burning on thousands of acres of land. Residents in the line of fires are being told to evacuate, sometimes with not much time to take too many things with them. Inside Edition was there as the first victims from the fire were allowed back to see what was left of their home. Here's Stacey Galandi.
Despair overwhelms California resident Erica Nenkervis as she surveys what used to be her father's home. Erica lived here until very recently.
It's unreal.
The house belonged to her dad, actor David Nenkervis.
This used to be my bedroom. There's my bed.
It was the first home destroyed by the wildfires, which are sweeping California's ritzy canyon country outside Los Angeles. The flames are still burning here at the house that once belonged to David Nenkervis. Now, as you can see, smoke. There's hardly anything left of his home. These are his two cars, Jaguar and a truck. The Jaguar he just bought 8 months ago. Over here was a two-story garage and guest house. Beyond that, a burned-out RV. David, who appeared in the Kate Hudson movie The Skeleton Key, told me about some plans he had for the RV. Plans that are now up in smoke, too.
I was going to take it to New Orleans and try to rescue a couple of families down there and bring them back here, put one upstairs in my garage because I had an apartment up above here.
David did, though, manage to salvage this plaster handprint of his other daughter, Madison.
My little girl's handprint.
It's another reminder of the awesome power of Mother Nature.
64 years old and I've lost everything.
Those fires were fueled by heavy brush, which grew thanks to last year's winter rains. Many of the homes threatened by the raging flames are worth more than $1 million. Jodie Foster's new film Flight Plan opened at #1 at the box office this past weekend, but as popular as the sky-high thriller is with audiences, flight attendants are calling for a boycott of the movie. April Woodard says it's because they don't like the way they've been portrayed.
Where's Julia? In the hit film Flight Plan, Jodie Foster is a mother on a mission, trying to find her 6-year-old daughter who's lost somewhere inside a plane at 37,000 feet.
The problem is that my daughter is missing, and nobody can tell me where the hell she is.
But in the midst of the film's runaway success, they've hit a bit of turbulence.
It was very, very disappointing.
Southwest Airlines flight attendants Karen Amos and Cindy Rittner gave the film 2 thumbs down for personal reasons.
I felt that Flight Plan portrayed flight attendants in a very uncaring and unprofessional and rude manner.
They're not the only ones. A coalition of flight attendants from coast to coast is calling for a boycott of the film, calling its depiction of flight attendants an outrage.
Do you know where my daughter is?
I'm sorry, but I don't think that she's here.
In the film, Jodie Foster is a portrait of total desperation, and according to these real-life professionals, the film's flight attendants' responses are all wrong.
If a passenger comes to me with a problem, I'm going to help immediately. You wouldn't have to ask twice. In this one, she almost has to beg for them to even get involved. Totally incorrect depiction.
A spokesman for Disney said their only intention was to create a great action thriller. Quote, "We are confident that the public will be able to discern the difference between fiction and the incredible job that real-life flight attendants perform on a daily basis." So the movie is a huge hit, but to some, this is one flight plan that should have been altered.
Depict me as I am. Don't demean me or belittle my position as a flight attendant.
Flight Plan took in just over $24 million last week. That put it ahead of Tim Burton's The Corpse Bride. President Bush, as you know, has called for all Americans to conserve gasoline, and some people are taking that request to heart. Or maybe we should say to hoof. We met a couple of teenagers who actually ride their horses to school. April Woodard has their story.
These high school students have found a creative way to rein in their gas expenses. Chappa Stevenson and Melissa Evans aren't horsing around. They're saving big, riding their horses to their high school near Salt Lake City, Utah. After Hurricanes Katrina and Rita drove gas prices in many states above $3 a gallon, the president urged Americans to conserve.
Maybe not drive when they on a trip that's not essential. That would be helpful.
Now folks all over the country are finding creative ways to beat the prices at the pump, like New York commuter Chelsea Beck. She rides her bike to work.
For me, it was a blessing in disguise because now I feel better than I ever did driving my car.
As for 16-year-old Chappa and 17-year-old Melissa, their horses are much slower, but hay is definitely cheaper than gas.
I fill my gas tank up every other day, roughly, and it's $40 every time I fill my gas tank up.
It takes the two teens 3.5 hours just to get to school. It's 34 miles away. We caught up with the pair as they started getting ready at 2:30 in the morning. The girls packed their books in a saddlebag and head to class while it's still pitch black.
Off to school.
Unfortunately, this morning, the long commute takes its toll on the horses. They're hoof sore, and Chappa's mom pulls up with a trailer and drives them to class. Still, they plan to be back in the saddle soon. The girls say they saved so much money on gas, other students started hoofing it to class, and now horses are a common sight in the parking lot.
In fact, some students ride 10 hours to get back and forth to school. John Roberts was sworn in as the 17th Chief Justice of the United States Thursday, and once again, his son Jack was the focus of attention. Les Trent reports.
His antics captured our hearts during this White House press conference and yet again during Senate confirmation hearings for his father, John Roberts. Now, Jack Roberts, son of the newly confirmed Supreme Court Chief Justice, is being recognized for his hard work by none other than President Bush himself.
We extend a special welcome to his wife, Jane, their daughter, Josie, and son, Jack. A fellow who's comfortable with the cameras.
Even his father got into the act.
With this nomination, the committee faced a very special challenge. And yet, working together, we met that challenge. We found a way to get Jack into the committee room, introduced to the committee, and back out again without any serious crisis. Thank you.
Way to go, Jack.
Back with more Inside Edition after this.
Next, imagine an island where sex offenders are forced to live together in exile.
The only way to get there is by ferry.
Journey to the island.
This is my home.
Then, Star Jones won't have her red carpet role. And look who's replacing her.
Fans are wondering what happened.
Plus, he plays Chris Rock as a kid, behind the scenes with a little star with very big shoes to fill. And what George Clooney told Diane Sawyer about his health crisis.
I'm having short-term memory issues.
Inside Edition with Deborah Norville will be right back.
First it was Joan Rivers, then Star Jones, and next time you will see Kathy Griffin doing red carpet duty for the E! Entertainment Channel. As Paul Wood reports, the comedian who boasts she's only on the D list apparently now is on the A list to do those award show arrivals.
On Emmy night, Star Jones looked radiant covering the red carpet for cable's E! Channel, but that may be the last time you'll see her in that role. E! told Inside Edition they're not renewing Star's contract to cover upcoming red carpet events. But Star told us she chose to leave because she's too busy promoting her upcoming book, which is all about her relationship with hubby Al Reynolds. The New York Post says Star is being replaced by a team of fashion police, including Queer Eye's Carson Kressley, Juliana DePonde, and comedian Kathy Griffin, although E! won't confirm that for us. Meantime, we caught up with Kathy in Beverly Hills, where she was honored for her work in the gay and lesbian community. But she wasn't talking about the changes at E! or the other change in her life, her impending divorce from Matt Moline. In these divorce papers, Kathy cites irreconcilable differences. Our Jim Moray asked her about the divorce.
So many people felt like they were included in your life, and I think that they were sorry to hear about the news of your split. And a lot of your fans are wondering what happened.
For the first time in my career, I have to say no comment.
I've never seen you say no comment.
No. You never will again. It's just this one topic.
Griffin and her husband said their I do's on Valentine's Day. They were married for 4.5 years. Everybody Hates Chris. Chris Rock's retelling of what it was like to grow up in New York is a television hit right out of the gate, and folks say one reason why is the boy who plays Chris. Though he's only 12 years old, he is a show business veteran, and he took us for an exclusive behind-the-scenes visit to the set. Here's April Woodard.
I fit inside of the locker. Sometimes I use it as my own little personal trailer.
He's the wide-eyed, pint-sized version of comedian Chris Rock. And at just 12 years old, Tyler James Williams is taking Hollywood by storm. Inside Edition went behind the scenes of Tyler's new comedy, Everybody Hates Chris, airing Thursdays on UPN. And Tyler even took cameras on a personal tour of the set.
It's the classroom / detention room / all-purpose room.
Tyler stars as a young Chris Rock attending a new school, and you would think it's a lot of pressure to perform for one of the funniest men on this planet. But Tyler isn't rattled, and Rock's already a big fan.
This kid's got it. No one knows what it is, but he's got it.
And Tyler didn't lose his cool on Emmy night either. In front of millions of TV viewers, he introduced Hurricane Katrina survivor Charles Evans.
Charles, what are your favorite shows?
Sister and SpongeBob SquarePants.
While Tyler may look like a new face to you, this 12-year-old is actually a seasoned actor, and Inside Edition has the clips to prove it.
Hey, Tyler, Rubber Ducky thinks you drew a picture of him.
That's right.
Here he is on Sesame Street at just 4 years old, and here he is doing a cold medicine commercial. With this much experience already under his belt, Tyler is a pint-sized star on the rise. He's so busy, he let us know he didn't have time to hang out with us all day on the set.
All right, you guys, I got to study my lines. Goodbye.
And how did Tyler get the gig playing Chris? Well, Rock says he's simply the funniest kid in the country. According to the Justice Department, there are 150,000 sex offenders incarcerated in the United States. But after they've done their prison time, some sex offenders are deemed not ready for life on the outside. So what do you do with them? Well, we're going to take you on a trip to what is essentially a deserted island. It's in Washington State, where a facility on this island provides an answer to that question of what to do with sex offenders who've served their time but could still be a threat. Stacey Galandi takes you there.
This ferry boat is taking me to an island in Washington's Puget Sound, home of one of the most controversial and bizarre communities in America. It's on tiny McNeil Island, about 3 miles by ferry from Tacoma, and it's home to hundreds of sex offenders. McNeil Island is about an hour from downtown Seattle, but the only way to get there is by ferry. For many of these sex offenders on the island, this ferry ride was their last connection to freedom. It's a wildlife preserve with dense woods and a few narrow lanes. I traveled deep inland, miles from shore, to the home of 226 permanent residents, and every one of them is a convicted sex offender. But while it's like a modern-day Alcatraz, this is not a prison. All the men here have already done their time.
If you look around, it's a lot like a community college campus.
Yeah.
People coming and going between classes.
Dr. Henry Richards is the superintendent of what's been called Sex Offender Island. He allowed our cameras on the grounds and inside the dorms.
The rooms are modest in size, but we try to encourage them to make it a comfortable place.
They're sent here for treatment, not because of what they've done, but because of what they might do.
They have some severe disorder that makes them more likely to commit a new sex offense.
All of the sex offenders within these gates are monitored 24 hours a day. There are 192 security cameras throughout the facility, making it virtually impossible for any sex offender to go undetected. They check in, but they don't check out. So far, no one has been released unsupervised. Only 4 residents have graduated to this community outside the bales of barbed wire.
I have no hopes of ever getting out of here.
Ron Johnson is a convicted child molester and has had treatment here for 2 years. He is seeking legal help for a way to get off the island.
But the average room is basically like this. We have chairs, beds, counters, places to put storage stuff.
Why are you allowed to have more stuff? Or?
I'm not allowed to have any more than anybody else.
Okay.
I just have the means of getting it.
But the center is controversial. Some say unconstitutional.
By locking them up away on an island without a meaningful opportunity to finish the program and to gain unconditional release, I think is a violation of their rights.
But don't tell that to Ida Balachotes. In 1988, her daughter Diane was raped and killed by a sex offender on work release, now serving life. As a state legislator, she fought to pass the law that created Sex Offender Island.
The safety of the public comes first.
So these ex-cons remain here in exile, some possibly for the remainder of their days.
You can't change the past. All you can do is change yourself to change the future.
McNeil Island is unique. It is the only facility of its type in the entire United States. All of the 226 residents at the facility are men, with the exception of one woman. Still to come, Diane Sawyer's candid talk with Hollywood heartthrob George Clooney, touring his Italian villa and opening up about a brain injury that left him with ongoing memory loss.
I am having short-term memory issues, which has been a very interesting thing as an actor.
Plus, caught on tape, moose on the loose. But can he make it over a barbed wire fence?
George Clooney's opened the doors to his palatial estate in Italy to ABC's Diane Sawyer on Thursday's Primetime Live. And he's talking about his health crisis. Here's Kim Dean.
George Clooney is speaking out about the ongoing effects he still endures from a serious brain injury he suffered earlier this year.
I am having short-term memory issues, which has been a very interesting thing as an actor. It's always fun because it really shakes your confidence. It's not permanent, it's bruised.
The star was injured when he fell while making a movie. He spoke to Primetime's Diane Sawyer at his gorgeous Italian villa.
Oh, this is unbelievable.
Clooney also talks about marriage, which he says is not a priority for him.
I don't find that as the gold medal.
And not the search for the ideal girl, like the perfect wave, like...
I'm probably not searching that hard.
You've seen that sexy promo for Desperate Housewives. Now here's a look at how it was made.
And action!
Star Terry Hatcher is bombarded by apples and has a little trouble walking on cue. Lots of special effects make the final product, well, juicy.
And when we come back, cool video of a moose on the loose. You'll see how he gets away, barely.
The man Pam Anderson says is stalking her.
This is outrageous.
Exclusive. Wait till you see where we found him, in a coffee shop in Pam Anderson's town.
Pamela Anderson claims that you've been stalking her.
Watch the next Inside Edition.
And check out the moose.
A moose on the loose in Anchorage, Alaska got into a sticky situation when he tried to jump over a barbed wire fence. Trapped near the local highway, the bull moose tried to leap back into the woods, but became entangled on the fence's prickly barbed wire. Miraculously, the moose was not hurt.
That's Inside Edition. See you next time.